You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Vulnerability discovery involves multiple families of techniques, and advanced organizations often extend beyond basic scanning by introducing active validation methods. Penetration tests and red team exercises provide deeper insight into how real attackers might exploit weaknesses. These methods do not just identify vulnerabilities, but also validate whether they are exploitable in practice. For instance, while a scan might flag an outdated library, a penetration test can show whether that flaw actually leads to data exposure. This form of validation transforms theory into demonstrable impact, giving defenders a clearer picture of true organizational risk. Penetration testing comes in different scopes, each revealing distinct weaknesses. Network penetration tests simulate external or internal attackers' probing systems for open ports, misconfigurations, or unpatched flaws. Web application tests examine common attack vectors like SQL injection or cross-site scripting. Cloud penetration testing focuses on misconfigured services, exposed storage buckets, and identity weaknesses unique to cloud platforms. Application layer tests dive into business logic, uncovering flaws scanners may overlook. Each scope complements the others, and hardened programs use a mix of these tests to build a complete view of vulnerabilities across environments. Credentialed penetration tests differ from blind tests in the perspectives they provide. A credentialed test gives the assessor access similar to a trusted insider, allowing them to probe deeper into configurations, data stores, and privilege escalations. Blind tests, by contrast, simulate external attackers with no prior knowledge, relying solely on reconnaissance and probing. Both approaches are valuable. Blind tests reveal what an outsider sees, while credentialed tests show risks from insider misuse or compromised accounts. Hardened environments alternate between both, ensuring vulnerabilities are identified from multiple threat perspectives. Bug bounty programs offer another channel of discovery by inviting external researchers to find flaws under controlled conditions. Unlike open-ended hacking, bug bounties operate within defined rules, rewarding researchers for responsibly reporting issues rather than exploiting them. Safe onboarding requires clear scope boundaries, submission guidelines, and processes to evaluate findings quickly. Organizations must also prepare to remediate issues rapidly once disclosed. When managed properly, bug bounties extend discovery capacity by harnessing the creativity of global researchers. Hardened organizations treat bug bounties not as a replacement, but as a complement to internal security programs. Supply chain discovery addresses vulnerabilities hidden in third-party components. By analyzing software bills of materials, SBOMs, and testing vendor-supplied components, organizations gain visibility into risks they inherit from partners. This is particularly vital for software libraries and firmware, where vulnerabilities may remain undisclosed by default. Testing third-party modules before integration ensures weaknesses are caught early. Hardened environments demand SBOMs from vendors and treat supply chain security as part of vulnerability management. Discovery here acknowledges that modern systems rarely stand alone. Risk extends into every dependency woven into the ecosystem. Containers and infrastructure as code, IAC, represent newer layers of potential exposure. Container images can embed vulnerabilities at build time, including outdated libraries or misconfigured defaults. Similarly, IAC templates may define insecure settings that propagate flaws across hundreds of systems automatically. Scanning these artifacts before deployment prevents vulnerabilities from multiplying at scale. Hardened programs embed container and IAC scanning into CI/CD pipelines, ensuring flaws are flagged before systems go live. This shifts vulnerability identification left, catching problems early when remediation is cheapest and least disruptive. Runtime detection provides another angle, focusing on exploitation attempts rather than static flaws. By correlating telemetry from endpoints, networks, and applications, organizations can spot suspicious activity that suggests attackers are targeting vulnerabilities. For example, repeated failed login attempts followed by unusual process activity may signal an exploit attempt. Runtime detection does not prevent vulnerabilities from existing but provides visibility when adversaries try to exploit them. Hardened programs combine runtime analytics with proactive discovery, ensuring vulnerabilities are managed before exploitation while still catching live attempts if prevention fails. Security researchers play a critical role in surfacing vulnerabilities through coordinated disclosure. Researchers often discover flaws independently and must have clear, safe channels to report them. Coordinated disclosure processes define timelines, responsibilities, and protections for both researchers and organizations. Without such processes, vulnerabilities may be published prematurely or ignored until exploited. Hardened organizations build trust with the research community, responding quickly to disclosures and integrating findings into their remediation programs. Discovery improves when researchers are allies rather than adversaries. Validating exploitability distinguishes between theoretical and practical risks. A scanner may identify a potential vulnerability, but only proof-of-concept exploitation confirms whether it can actually be abused. In some cases, issues flagged as high severity turn out to be mitigated by existing controls. Conversely, low-severity flaws may combine into serious attack chains. Hardened organizations perform exploit validation carefully, ensuring it is safe and controlled. By distinguishing between possible and provable, they reduce noise and vulnerability backlogs and focus efforts where risk is real and pressing. False positive management ensures that vulnerability programs remain credible. Automated scanners inevitably produce findings that are not exploitable or are misclassified. Without filtering, IT teams may become overwhelmed or skeptical of vulnerability reports, leading to patch fatigue. Maintaining an accurate backlog requires triaging, validating, and closing false positives quickly. Hardened organizations establish processes to separate noise from signal, ensuring only confirmed, meaningful vulnerabilities remain in remediation pipelines. This discipline builds trust across security and IT teams, making collaboration smoother and more effective. Balancing automated scanning with human-led discovery is essential for depth and context. Automated tools excel at scale, rapidly identifying known flaws across thousands of systems. Human-led methods such as penetration tests, red teaming, and manual code review provide creativity, context, and logic testing that automation cannot match. Hardened environments blend both approaches, leveraging automation for breadth and humans for depth. This hybrid model ensures vulnerability identification covers both the obvious exposures automation excels at and the subtle, contextual flaws only human expertise can uncover. Policies for handling high-severity findings define escalation, communication, and mitigation timelines. When a critical vulnerability is discovered, the organization must know exactly how to respond. Policies outline who is notified, how quickly fixes must be applied, and what interim mitigations should occur if patches are not immediately available. Without defined policies, organizations risk delays or confusion at the worst possible time. Hardened programs treat high-severity findings as emergencies, ensuring escalation paths are clear, communication is immediate, and fixes are prioritized above all else. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Orchestration of multi-method discovery is essential for comprehensive coverage. No single approach, be it scanning, penetration testing, or software composition analysis, can uncover every weakness. By combining these methods with threat intelligence, organizations create a layered discovery framework. For example, scanning identifies known CVEs, penetration tests validate exploitability, and SCA reveals supply chain risks. Threat intelligence then highlights which vulnerabilities adversaries are actively exploiting. Hardened environments orchestrate these methods into a unified process, ensuring that each discovery stream complements the others rather than operating in silos. This synergy closes gaps and provides a holistic view of risk. Pre-engagement rules of engagement provide structure for penetration tests and interactions with external researchers. They define scope, allowed techniques, and reporting requirements. For instance, rules might restrict testers from targeting production databases during business hours or require immediate notification if sensitive data is accessed. Without these boundaries, discovery activities risk causing outages or violating laws. Hardened organizations formalize rules of engagement to protect both the environment and those conducting the tests. This clarity ensures that valuable insights are gained without unintended damage or compliance violations. Validation and evidence capture are critical once vulnerabilities are identified. Screenshots, logs, and proof-of-concept demonstrations provide tangible proof that issues exist and can be exploited. Evidence also supports remediation by giving IT teams clear reproduction steps. Without proper validation, vulnerability reports may be dismissed as false positives or lack the detail needed to fix them. Hardened organizations require evidence for every confirmed vulnerability, ensuring findings withstand scrutiny from technical staff, auditors, and executives. Documentation makes vulnerabilities actionable, transforming abstract alerts into concrete tasks. Remediation verification ensures vulnerabilities are truly closed after fixes are applied. This involves retesting the affected systems to confirm patches or configuration changes worked. Controls validation may also be needed, ensuring that compensating measures like firewalls or intrusion prevention rules effectively mitigate risks. Closure should never be based on assumptions or ticket updates alone. Hardened programs formalize verification steps, requiring independent confirmation before vulnerabilities are marked resolved. This practice ensures remediation translates into genuine risk reduction, preventing issues from silently persisting after incomplete fixes. Metrics help evaluate discovery effectiveness and program maturity. Coverage measures the percentage of assets and applications being assessed. Detection rate compares discovered vulnerabilities against benchmarks or known exposures. Recurrence measures whether the same vulnerabilities reappear, suggesting weak remediation practices. These metrics provide leaders with visibility into the strength of the program and highlight areas needing improvement. Hardened organizations use metrics not only to report success, but also to refine processes. Measurement transforms vulnerability identification from reactive discovery into a managed, continuously improving discipline. Coordination with change management ensures remediation activities align with business operations. Applying patches or configuration changes without planning can disrupt services. By tying vulnerability remediation to change management, organizations validate fixes in staging environments, schedule deployments during maintenance windows, and document approvals. This coordination prevents security improvements from becoming sources of instability. Hardened programs recognize that secure change is as important as swift change, embedding vulnerability response into established operational frameworks. Security and reliability advance together when processes are aligned. Deception technologies such as honeynets provide another avenue for surfacing reconnaissance and probing activity. Honeynets mimic legitimate systems, luring attackers into revealing their methods and tools. Activity in these decoys is inherently suspicious, providing early warning of attempted exploits. They can also reveal vulnerabilities attackers are targeting in real time. Hardened organizations use honeynets not just as traps, but as intelligence sources, feeding lessons into detection rules and vulnerability prioritization. By deceiving adversaries, defenders gain both time and insight. Legal and privacy boundaries must be respected when scanning third-party or partner systems. Unauthorized scanning can be considered unlawful probing or even an attack. Even when partnerships exist, clear agreements are required before assessing external environments. These agreements should define scope, responsibilities, and liability. Hardened organizations ensure legal counsel reviews any third-party scanning plans, preventing unintentional violations. Respecting boundaries maintains trust and compliance, ensuring discovery activities do not create more risk than they eliminate. Escalation playbooks provide structured responses when critical vulnerabilities or active exploits are discovered. These playbooks define immediate containment steps, communication channels, and decision-making authority. For example, they may require notifying executives, isolating affected systems, or applying emergency patches. Without predefined playbooks, organizations may waste time debating responses during crises. Hardened environments rely on escalation plans that are rehearsed and clear, ensuring that high-severity findings trigger fast, coordinated action across technical and business teams alike. Vendor and supply chain follow-up processes are essential when vulnerabilities originate in third-party products. Organizations must notify vendors, request timelines for fixes, and apply compensating controls until patches are delivered. In some cases, escalation to regulators or industry groups may be necessary if vendors fail to act. Hardened programs formalize these follow-up procedures, ensuring supply chain vulnerabilities are not ignored or left unaddressed. Discovery does not end at the organizational boundary. It includes holding vendors accountable and protecting against inherited risks. Training and feedback loops strengthen vulnerability identification by refining tools and reducing noise. Analysts who validate findings provide feedback to improve scanner rules, adjust anomaly detection thresholds, and update discovery processes. Developers and system owners trained in secure coding or configuration contribute fewer vulnerabilities in the first place. Hardened environments view vulnerability management as a learning cycle, where every finding becomes an opportunity to tune defenses and educate stakeholders. Over time, this feedback loop reduces false positives, improves accuracy, and builds organizational resilience. Governance provides the overarching structure for vulnerability identification. Regular program reviews evaluate whether discovery methods remain effective. Executive reporting translates technical risk into business impact. And integration with risk management ensures findings are contextualized within broader enterprise concerns. Governance ensures vulnerability programs are not isolated technical exercises but part of organizational strategy. Hardened environments embed vulnerability identification into governance frameworks, ensuring accountability, transparency, and continuous improvement. Governance makes the difference between ad hoc scanning and a mature, strategic program. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.